But we bring to China a type of ideology, admittedly a relatively benign one as it relates to politics in China, but still a Western ideology. And in many ways, that had value to them because I think they wanted to prove that they were not as...
Hi, this is Rachel Zegler, a name that once radiated promise and potential. She was set to carve her place in Disney's history books as the bright, fresh face of the reimagined Snow White. With her musical talent, budding stardom, and undeniable charisma, she seemed destined to bring new life to the story that defined Walt Disney's legacy. But as 2025 approached, her meteoric rise took an unexpected turn. A series of bizarre events transformed Zegler from a celebrated rising star into a polarizing figure. Her career, once brimming with potential, became entangled in a storm of controversies, fan backlash, and what critics have called a woke meltdown. The whispers of irrelevance began to grow louder, leaving Disney grappling to rescue both the film and its lead actress from the chaos. This was supposed to be her moment, a crowning achievement that solidified her stardom. Instead, it's become a cautionary tale about the perils of mishandling a cherished legacy. When Disney announced their live-action remake of Snow White, the initial reaction was a mix of curiosity and caution. By now, the studio's remake machine had already churned out Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Little Mermaid. Each one sparked its own debates, but still managed to draw massive crowds. Yet Snow White was different. It wasn't just a classic, it was the classic, the very foundation of Disney's empire, and a symbol of animation's limitless potential. Any attempt to remake it came with colossal stakes, both creatively and commercially. Anyways, Disney's pitch, a modernized version of the beloved tale. At first glance, it seemed like a smart move, honoring the original while adapting it for contemporary audiences. But cracks began to show, and Rachel Zegler found herself in the eye of the storm. From the outset, Zegler's interviews raised eyebrows. Her comments about the 1937 original were perceived as dismissive, even derisive. She labeled the classic as dated and irrelevant, hinting that the old Snow White lacked depth. At first, fans chalked it up to youthful enthusiasm, an actress eager to redefine a role. But as she doubled down, her tone shifted from confident to combative. Her assertions that modern audiences deserved a real story and that it was time to leave behind outdated damsels in distress alienated many. To lifelong fans, it felt less like she was reinventing the character and more like she was mocking the heart of the original. The backlash? Swift and unforgiving. Clips of Zegler's interviews began circulating online, often paired with sarcastic captions and edits that emphasized her apparent disdain for the classic. Her perceived disdain for the original lit a firestorm across social media. Hashtags like boycott Snow White began trending, and heated debates erupted on every platform. While many supported the idea of updating old stories to reflect modern values, Zegler's delivery struck a nerve. Her words felt dismissive, even condescending, and fans who once celebrated diversity and progressive storytelling now felt alienated. And Zegler quickly became a lightning rod for criticism, with detractors accusing her of arrogance and disrespect. Critics painted her as the poster child for Hollywood's growing disconnect from its audience, a symbol of everything wrong with the industry's attempts to modernize cherished classics. Disney's marketing team found themselves in uncharted waters. Promoting a film typically means showcasing the star's charisma, leveraging nostalgia, and spotlighting visual spectacle. But with Zegler at the center of the controversy, every marketing move felt like stepping into a minefield. Efforts shifted toward emphasizing the film's magic and whimsy, while downplaying the modern updates that had triggered so much outrage. But it was too late. The damage was done. Every new trailer, clip, or poster was met with skepticism, snark, and criticism. The narrative surrounding Zegler's remarks overshadowed any attempts to rebuild excitement for the film. Then, details about the production began to trickle out, and they didn't help. Reports revealed that Disney's updates to the story were far more drastic than fans had anticipated. The iconic Seven Dwarfs' beloved sidekicks in the original had reportedly been replaced by mystical woodland creatures, or an ensemble of diverse characters with no connection to the original. Test screenings only made things worse. Early viewers described the new cast as awkward, with little chemistry, leaving audiences puzzled. Rumors of drastic rewrites and ballooning budgets added fuel to the fire. Some insiders claimed the project had soared past the $300 million mark, sparking outrage among critics and fans alike. Every leak reinforced the perception that Disney had embarked on a misguided mission to fix what wasn't broken. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler's public image continued its downward spiral. Social media was relentless, turning her from a promising star into a polarizing figure overnight. Social media erupted with memes, mockery, and unrelenting criticism. Rachel Zegler's attempts to clarify her remarks often backfired, with many interpreting her words as condescending or dismissive of their concerns. When she referred to her critics as needing to grow up and get with the times, it only solidified the narrative that she was out of touch with Disney's core audience. The controversy reached a breaking point. Even some of her initial supporters began questioning her approach. Was she genuinely championing progress, or was she simply alienating the very fans Disney needed on its side? For Disney, the stakes couldn't have been higher. Snow White wasn't just another movie. It was a cornerstone of their brand, a symbol of their legacy, and a testament to their roots as storytellers. A failure of this magnitude wouldn't just hurt their box office numbers. It had the potential to tarnish Disney's reputation as the guardian of timeless tales. Merchandising deals, theme park tie-ins, and long-term strategies were all intricately tied to the film's success. Yet, with public sentiment turning increasingly hostile, the odds of a triumphant release grew slimmer by the day. Behind the scenes, Disney scrambled to contain the fallout. Reports of reshoots and post-production overhauls hinted at a desperate effort to salvage the film. Some sources claimed the Seven Dwarfs were being reintroduced through costly CGI, while others suggested reworked dialogue to soften the modern messaging. But these efforts felt too little, too late. Fans had already made up their minds, and the perception of Snow White 2025 as a misguided, overly woke disaster was firmly entrenched. As the controversy spiraled, Zegler's career faced a crossroads. Once celebrated as a breakout star with boundless potential, she now risked becoming a cautionary tale in Hollywood. Producers began reconsidering her for future roles, wary of the backlash her involvement might bring. Comparisons to other Hollywood figures who had faced similar career setbacks, like Katherine Heigl, became all too common. Still, there were voices of support. Defenders argued that Zegler had been unfairly targeted by an overly critical fan base. They acknowledged that the original Snow White, while groundbreaking for its time, embodied outdated tropes that needed reimagining. To them, Zegler's remarks stemmed from a desire to modernize the character and make her relevant for today's audiences. Yet even among her supporters, there was an admission that her delivery had missed the mark. Her delivery lacked tact. Rather than celebrating the original while advocating for a fresh perspective, Zegler came across as dismissive, almost belittling the foundation of her iconic role. The controversy surrounding Snow White 2025 ignited broader conversations about Disney's reliance on live-action remakes. While these projects had been cash cows in the past, their creative merit was under fire. Were these films meaningful reinterpretations, or hollow nostalgia-fueled cash grabs? The production woes and backlash over Zegler's remarks exposed the growing risks of tampering with beloved classics. Fans' patience was wearing thin, and Disney's formula of blending modern updates with familiar branding was beginning to crack. As the film's release date loomed, speculation about its fate reached a fever pitch. Would Disney press on with the theatrical release, risking a box office disaster, or pivot to a quieter streaming debut in hopes of minimizing losses? Either way, the damage to both the Snow White brand and Zegler's reputation seemed inescapable. Whew. Zegler's ongoing attempts to engage with critics often reignited the controversy, making it nearly impossible for Disney to shift the narrative. What should have been a celebration of reimagined magic had turned into a PR nightmare. Ultimately, the saga of Rachel Zegler and Snow White 2025 stands as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the delicate balance required when reimagining beloved stories. Disrupting that balance can come at a steep cost. For Zegler, the road to redemption will be arduous. Hollywood loves a comeback story, but rebuilding trust with fans and industry insiders will demand careful navigation and humility. For Disney, the fallout highlights the necessity of treating their legacy properties with greater care and sensitivity. Fans have grown more vocal and discerning, and the margin for error is shrinking fast. And so, in the end, the question remains, can Rachel Zegler and Disney recover from this debacle? Or will it become a lasting reminder of the dangers of dismissing the past in the quest to reinvent the future? Only time will tell. One thing, however, is certain. The lessons learned from Snow White 2025 will shape how studios approach their cherished stories for years to come.